They came to Pegasus through some mutual relationships with a previous vendor. So we had some relationships already existing, and they knew that we were a pretty flexible company and that we could act quickly. The reason they knew that is we were already handling some of this business through a vendor, especially on the transportation side. So they were already dealing with Pegasus to a certain extent. They knew who we were, they knew our culture, they knew what kind of organization we were, and we had a track record of success. I think our brand kind of spoke to itself, at least with respect to the transportation piece. Actually, a little bit riskier, or it required more conversations to kind of prove our credibility within the 3PL space, right? Because they didn't really know our capabilities in that space yet. But once we started having the conversations, I think they quickly realized, hey, this is a company that is really going to take care of us no matter what part of the supply chain we're talking about. At the time, they were rapidly expanding. They needed some warehouse space to put the product at hand, recognizing that they were going to open up 12 additional warehouses in the next 2 years. They really needed a partner that could act very quickly, that was very nimble. There wasn't a lot of red tape, and we were able to find locations for all 12 warehouses, get them up and running very, very quickly.
We started out with just, getting facilities for them, and then grew into full-on processing of their products. But the real driving factor was speed of service. And you see that across the logistics industry, with a lot of the big players now, they try to fit customers into what they do rather than fitting the business for the customer. And that's something where we're really good in being flexible and fast to take care of our customers.
So I think the impact to the client was just proving that there's not going to be a whole lot of red tape. A lot of that is just a testament to the size of our organization. A lot of our competitors right now that play in the 3PL world are big ships, slow to turn, and we're still at a sweet spot of growth and size, so we can make decisions very quickly.
We're bringing in, the flexibility that they need. So one of the things that we're working with them right now is cutting out extra transportation lanes that they don't need. A lot of their products, they try to ship straight from the manufacturer into their centers. And when the product arrives, they've got a lot of work to get it active, right, to operating. And so what we're doing is, since it's coming into our DCs, we're able to have that flexibility of speed. So when they need it to get there, we get it there and we get it there on time, so that their technical staff is not waiting around. They don't have to bring in extra resources, because when it's coming from the OEM, oftentimes it's coming overseas, and then OEMs aren't necessarily hitting their deadlines. And so they're planning for people to be there and equipment to be ready when it's not. And so we're solving that challenge for them.
Looking at Pegasus as a single source, just a true end-to-end supply chain provider is one of the biggest benefits that we can offer. It's not just, hey, how do you manage our inventory? It's, can you manage the transportation? Can you handle the expedites? Can you handle the value-added services? Can you manage the disposals or the quality control or the security piece? So with this particular client, for example, the security is immense. We're talking about very high value, very strict control measures. So all of the trucks that leave our facilities have GPS tracking devices. We know where they are at all times, and have a strict chain of custody.
Initially, we started out with just our WMS, but now we're moving into RFID. They didn't even know their products had RFID tags on them. And we discovered that, and now we're looking to implement RFID systems where they can at any time log into a facility and see where everything is and when it's moving, and give them that visibility that they desperately want. Because of the nature of their products, they're big, they're heavy, they can only be moved at a slow pace. We can't put them on regular forklifts. And so we're looking at robotic, essentially pallet jacks, to move their products, because one, the robots can work 24 hours a day. They don't call in sick. They're cheaper than humans when you work them enough hours. We're really trying to future-proof the business for them. The labor market changes constantly. We saw that through COVID. And so when we can put things in there, that saves them money and makes it, more efficient and reduces risk in the future, that's good for all of us. For other companies, you want to look for a Pegasus, right? You want a company, one that's going to be honest with you, straightforward, that has the flexibility to take care of your needs. The big boys are great at moving product. They're not great at customizing solutions. So you want somebody who's going to be flexible and nimble and be able to take care of your needs. One of the most frustrating things for these companies is they need to change quickly and their provider can't. And then they have to figure out ways to work around their provider. We don't want our customer to ever have to work around us.
There is a lot of longevity at Pegasus, a lot of tribal knowledge, but it speaks to the culture and the type of organization that we are. We're a company that highly invests in a stakeholder mentality, which means everybody wins, whether it's the employees, the clients, our vendors. That's really important to us, and it shows in our discussions with our clients when we onboard them. And I think people want to do business with people who are committed to their organization. They're going to be there a while. They understand the values and principles of their organization. They ultimately want to know that the people they're working with are going to go to bat for them. They understand the scope of the project, that they can get someone on the phone when something is needed. And I think we prove that every step of the way, from the very beginning of the conversations, where we ask very detailed questions about the project itself. And that's because we want to onboard properly, especially with organizations like this one. It's risky. It's risky to trust a new partner, especially when you're dealing with such high value product. But I think in those conversations where we involve everybody from the executive team down to the dock handlers, I think it's pretty apparent that everybody cares about the client in that situation. I think in the end, they feel that, right? They feel it every day. So I don't think it's very hard at an organization like Pegasus to gain trust fairly quickly.